You're not my dad. Now, I'm going to be talking today. I'm going to explain what I mean by that. I'm going to be talking about atheists, agnostics. And right off the bat, let me give a disclaimer that I understand that not every atheist or agnostic is going to fall into this category. So if you're watching this and you're like, "Hey, that's not me," understand. I understand that you're the exception, right? But the majority do fall into this category, and so I want to address that today. We've talked a lot in the past about, really, if you use common sense, logic, history, science, archaeology, morality. It takes more faith to believe there is not a God than it does to believe that there is a God. Now, if you don't believe me, go read the book Stealing from God. Read the book. I don't have enough faith to be an atheist, and then we can talk. But today, many people treat God that he doesn't exist, or they're choosing to say he doesn't exist because they don't like his moral law, his authority, his definition of right and wrong. So they argue, if God were real, he wouldn't do this. If God were real, he would have created humans better and not to die of cancer. Or if God were real, he wouldn't have allowed evil in the world. If God were good, he wouldn't have allowed this, he wouldn't allow that. But those are moral arguments. They're not scientific ones. And the very ability to make those moral arguments comes from the moral law that's written on your heart. God wrote that law on every single one of our hearts. We know deep down in our beings what's right and what's wrong. Now, some people choose to go against that, of course. That's free will. But you you can't, here's the point is, logically, you can't be angry at a God you don't believe exists. And yet people do it every day. And that's not evidence against God, that's evidence for God. You know, it it's like a child shouting, "You're not my dad," right? While standing in their father's house, the one he built, eating the food he bought, wearing the clothes he bought for them. The argument itself depends on the very reality it's denying. Think of it about it another way is when a child disagrees with his or her father's instructions, that doesn't mean that her father doesn't exist, right? It just means she doesn't like what he said. She thinks she knows better at the time. But you give her a little time. Most children, they grow up and they're like, they look back, yeah, I think Dad knew a little bit more than I did. Yeah, he had it right. He knew what I couldn't understand at the time, right? So when you look honestly at the evidence all around us, right? Creation, conscience, the order and design and everything around us, the moral law that I mentioned written inside of us, the resurrection of Jesus Christ, it all points unmistakably to God. We're told in the Bible, the heavens declare his glory. The human soul aches for meaning. We all do. I mean, where does that meaning come from? It comes because we were made by God and for God. So arguing against God doesn't erase him. It only exposes our own rebellion, right? And like that child who grows up and finally realizes her father's wisdom, one day every person will stand before God and understand that his way was right all along. The wise response isn't to fight him, it's to trust him. Because faith doesn't begin with having all the answers. We don't have all the answers. It begins with recognizing that the answers have already been written by the one who made us, God. All right. So thanks for watching today. Wanted to share that. Love and appreciate you. God bless, and I'll see you back next time.